Neon lights, neon lights. Stay dancing with my demons, do the dash me out of sight. Run it up, secure the bag.
Hello and welcome to the SoulInsights podcast. I'm Kyle and Loxton, joined by
Kyle.
And we're going to have a chat about our little Vegas trip.
Gandy little slapping trip, wasn't it, basically?
Banging trip.
Yeah,
So
and we'll add one little thing in as well, but we'll do that when I get to it. So
okay.
actually, I'll be in a second. So yeah, we'll do what we've done, what we got up to, and kind of like what Vegas is all about. Really looking to go, or that hasn't been, or anything
definitely.
like that. Right, are we starting off with song then?
Yeah, music recommendation.
So music recommendation comes from the other thing we did, which was the day before Vegas, which was
N-Dubs.
Yep. So we went to see N-Dubs in concert. Some banter things have happened since, like the show's getting cancelled and all that.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with it,
but yeah,
our show was okay though.
Our show was alright. There was only 2 fights that we know of, wasn't there?
Yeah.
So fights at every single one though, which is absolute jokes, really, isn't it?
And it's like their set list. It was cool that they did like obviously the old bangers. They weren't trying to plug new stuff or anything like that. So.
Yeah, I suppose they got Summer Tour 2023, so maybe they'll add in,
their
or
album,
maybe that'll be for like a new album or something that they're going to release after they finish this tour.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll have to see. But it was also cool that Dappy did some of his own songs as well.
Yeah,
some
his newer ones,
his
isn't it?
stuff. Yeah, like Lingo, No Regrets.
And then Phaser and Talisa were like posing in the cameras that we've thrown to him, sort of thing, isn't it? So they're doing other stuff. It wasn't just kind of like you just sat there watching Dappy sort of thing.
Yeah, which is alright. Yeah, so N-Dubs, So Alive. It's the best one. Or wouldn't you?
N-Dubs feat Skepta. Can't
N-Dubs
forget the goat.
Skepta, yeah.
The goat of grime.
So N-Dubs feat Skepta, So Alive. Onto the, what is it? SoulInsights podcast.
The SI Pod playlist on Spotify.
That's the one. Yes.
So yeah, it's like an old school sort of song being added to it.
Yep, cool.
Speaking of Spotify, I'll just go straight into it.
Yeah.
They got this thing called Spotify Blend. I think I told you about it shortly after I kind of knew about it. I don't know how new it is.
It's probably like years old now.
But it can. I think you can go up to 10 people that you can invite into a certain playlist, and then it will gather all of the music that you listen to into one playlist of everyone else, so they all kind of pick music that you might all like together, and then you've got like a music match. So the more people, the better sort of like contrast you might have. So.
Or the more like retarded it'll be, being like all these different like artists, and it'll be a bit more bipolar, won't it? Like,
what would make it more fun is, say, if you had all mates of different tastes,
yeah,
go
making
into
it
one
bipolar.
rather than
Yeah,
just
so
all
you
having
go
one taste.
You
of
go
music.
from bloody rock, from rap to like heavy rock or metal or something like that. And
the
it's
one
like,
I'm in is quite nice. Yeah, it's quite cool. Like all of a sudden, it's just a switch.
Yeah, that's alright when you like.
Me and you, I think it's similar, isn't it?
Yeah, but that's alright when you like all this different music. But if you don't, then you really don't want all this like rock or to come up, or you don't want the rap to come up or whatever, do you? So
yeah, it kind of I think in a way it helps people maybe branch out a little bit more though. And just check out other music, isn't it?
Yeah,
I mean,
so in which
obviously
sense,
you don't like it. But
it'd be cool for us that
check it
you listen to artists that I don't know about or something, but they'll come up in the playlist because it's similar to what I'll listen to, and then it's like, I like them actually.
Yeah, that's quite cool.
It's similar to what I usually listen to, but it's a different artist, which is cool. So.
Yeah, so check it out if you want to check out new music or anything, or see what other people listen to. That you can see how messed up in the head they are. So
right.
Mate.
Page from the book, is it?
No, TV film game. We'll chuck into it.
Oh, okay. I forget our own bloody list now.
I don't even know if it's that. It might be that order.
Well, it is now. So, game recommendation. I should have said this last episode, but Goat Simulator 3, because I didn't realise it had come out already.
You can set off a nuke in that game as well.
Banter, because I remember playing the first one. I don't even know if there is a Goat Simulator 2, to be honest, if they just went straight for 3. But anyway, banter game. And Warzone 2, of which we both hate the game mode because
it's not my style.
No, Battle Royale, especially Call of Duty Battle Royale, isn't our kind of thing. But nonetheless, it's a popular game. And people like it.
The advert looks insane for it, to be fair.
Yeah,
so,
but you can play as bloody like Neymar and all that, can't you? So you can play
yeah.
Neymar, Messi, and Pogba. I think are the 3. I've seen the Neymar finishing moves, which were pretty cool.
Was it football related?
It's like kicking related, some of them, yes. So, like you kick their head and stuff like that. So it's like kicking a ball. So, right, films, Slumberland, which is the Jason Momoa film on Netflix, number 1 on Netflix currently, as of saying this. And you've got Avatar 2. The final trailer was released, which you said, which that's out fairly soon, isn't it? So we'll recommend it when it comes out as well.
Yes.
And then TV recommendation. I watched the first season. I think there's only one season. Or was of this, but I haven't seen the second one. I only saw it because you went on Netflix. So Inside Job, which is some like adult cartoon kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, new season of that. Yeah, there we go. And on to The Dictionary of Obscure Sorrows by John Kronick.
John Koenig.
Oh, I get it wrong every time.
So out in chapter 4, Faces in a Crowd, catching glimpses of humanity from a distance. Actually, speaking from this book, Dermot Kennedy released his album, and he's called it Sonder.
Of course.
And now everyone's clocking on to that word.
Of course. I think that's the first one you used.
Yeah, it's my favourite word off the whole book. It's the whole reason why I got the book.
Good.
And Dermot Kennedy thinks the same. So
probably check out episode 1
Dermot
of the
Kennedy,
podcast.
sponging the trend.
Episode 1 of the podcast to hear about that word, I think. Or just listen to every single podcast from this one backwards, because then you'll listen to every single one.
Every single word linked to it anyway. Because I imagine if he's opened up branches to Sonder, other people might come across this Dictionary of Obscure Sorrows, which would be jokes. Because,
Banter.
Yeah. Otherwise, we ain't clinging on to that trend because we own it, alright?
we just to be clear, we don't.
We don't own it, but we discovered it.
We do it. Okay,
right.
So
the word is ludiosis.
LUDIOUS. IS.
IOSIS. So it's quite close, to be honest.
Ludiosis. Sounds like a bloody Harry Potter spell.
It's kind of like, okay. Right, the sense that you're just making it up as you go along, knowing that if someone asked why you do most things, you couldn't really come up with a convincing explanation.
That sums up our year, doesn't it?
It just sums up my life, mate.
Well, yeah. Let's just say this year, and because
no
Vegas
convincing explanation why I do half the shit I do.
Yeah. So our trips. So why have we done it? You could say the same about Chicago as well. It's like, why'd you do it? It's like, I don't really know. It just kind of happened, didn't it? Like, these things they've just kind of spiraled and spiraled.
The only way I can think of like a convincing explanation to anything that anyone does is a science experiment.
Yeah.
Because you need an explanation for why you're conducting that. Otherwise, you just go with anything, don't you?
Why does anybody do anything? It just comes down to whatever they want to do, doesn't it?
It also happens to be that thing, isn't it? I'm guessing experiment. You set out your mind to think of an answer, isn't it? Whereas life, you just like,
but you could could give a full-on explanation as to why you did something, and other people won't understand it. They'll be like, but that still doesn't make sense as to why you did it. It's like, it makes sense to me, just because it doesn't make sense to you, or it literally is. Why did you do that? I don't know. Funny.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the in-betweeners meme, isn't it?
Content.
So yeah,
that's what it's like now, isn't it?
Why did you jump off that cliff? Content.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's probably not too much.
Jokes.
I mean, you could say with the music projects as well, actually. You could say a convincing explanation of why you made an album. I don't know. I just thought science experiment because it's literally like all written down, isn't it? Otherwise, you just let life.
Why did you write about everything that you did in your songs?
Yeah. Banter.
Exactly.
Content.
I don't know. Yeah, content. Everything's done for the content nowadays.
Well, speaking of content, let's move
Vegas.
On to
every podcast
topic.
Yep. So Las Vegas.
Las Vegas,
which was jokes, wasn't it? To be honest,
it was insane.
We did quite a lot of stuff actually.
We did do it. Well, it was linked to a birthday celebration as well. Early one for you, wasn't it? But I turned 26 out there. Look at that. Wrong side of 25.
Old bastard.
Wrinkly old dickhead over
I've still got like 4 more days as of recording this.
Oh, you're gonna come into the little 26.
Exactly. Could turn into one of them buddies. Right. We didn't get there until late on Wednesday, really, did we? Let's start with the best part of all, the flights.
You loved it.
Virgin Atlantic headrest. The flight, great. Yeah, staff, lovely. Nothing wrong with that side of thing. Yeah, like a good flight, good company to go with, but the headrest. Jokes.
That's your new insult to people because it's just as useful as that.
People might find them comfortable. Okay, yeah, fair enough. I really didn't.
If it works, like just
we both had the experience, Karen on the way there and me on the way back. It was like a little like Ziploc kind of thing, wasn't it? Like you push it up and it stays in place, or you can pull it back down. And we both had the experience where it wouldn't lock into place. So you'd push it up and it'd just fall back down, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
So it was jokes.
And leg space, obviously, but you can't really help that if you're flying how we flew.
If you're flying tramp mode, because we went for the cheapest possible ticket, so you've got more money to spend while you're over there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'd rather go to the toilets on that, but
otherwise, other than the fact it's 10 hours of pure torture.
Yeah, try and sleep.
Yeah,
pop a
the actual flight itself was alright, wasn't it? I suppose.
Exactly.
The airline, there's nothing wrong with the airline, is there? So.
What was the main film we watched? Bullet Train, that was it.
Oh yeah, Bullet Train, really good that actually.
That was quite good.
And we watched, what was the other one?
Don't Breathe 2.
Don't Breathe 2, yeah. So they're the two kind of like, well, we watched them together, didn't we, essentially at the same time. So there might have been something else as well, but I can't remember now. But anyway, they were the two.
That was alright.
Bullet Train was really good.
I mean, airplane food is banter, to be honest.
Yeah, exactly. That yogurt was really nice.
Yeah.
And
But,
the ice lollies as well, which you missed.
oh, yeah. I try and fall asleep through flights, to be honest.
Yeah, but then you miss ice lollies.
You're a nice lolly.
Thank you.
But we got there. We did go out, actually, though, that night.
Yeah, so we got there. We got to the hotel at like 9 o'clock, maybe, didn't we? 9 p.m. We literally checked in, sat down for a little bit and sorted ourselves out, kind of composed ourselves, and then we went and got some food in the hotel. So we stayed in the Sahara, which was a nice hotel.
Yeah.
It was quite far up the strip, so it's probably one of the furthest one up the strip. So closest to
one of the
downtown
first on the
Las
strip,
Vegas and furthest away from the sign.
Yeah.
Is the easiest way to
I
put it.
think it was one of the first that was made for the strip.
Was
Hence
it?
why it's obviously where it is.
It's
I guess, it's probably the
essentially at the top end if you want to look at it that way, or the bottom end, whichever way you want to look at the strip being. So we had some, well, we can kind of like skip the whole food and that sort of thing.
We saw 2 displays. It was a volcano, wasn't it? We saw
the volcano display, which I can't remember what it was outside of. What hotel?
Like Treasure Island, I think. It's around that area.
Ish, yeah, around there at least. Which basically
I
just
don't know how
like
often that
little
is.
fire display kind of thing.
Yeah.
It was every hour between certain times, maybe like 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. or something like that every hour. And then obviously the Bellagio water fountains, which we went and saw, didn't we?
Yeah.
And of course, the time we got to both, when we got to each of them was when it was actually starting. And every time we walked past the bloody Bellagio fountains, it seemed to be going.
I don't know how often. It must have been quite often.
Bellagio fountain was every half an hour during the day. And then when it gets later in the evening, it's every 15 minutes or something like that.
It'd be displayed. I didn't know that it got displayed to a song. I thought it was just a display, so it'd be like an iconic song.
It's a different song every time. So the best one we had was probably the Frank Sinatra one, wasn't it?
Frank Sinatra, Billie Jean as well was one.
Billie Jean was the first one, I think, wasn't it?
Elvis was another one.
Yeah,
obviously, Elvis.
Yeah, so they do loads. I think they do like it's the same structure every day.
Yeah,
of songs, because obviously they need like a billion different like.
I think we saw the Billie Jean one twice. It must be that.
When we were walking past, it's the same one again.
Yeah.
It must be this time, mustn't it? Like,
it's cool to see. Like, just check out. It's like a free show sort of thing. So it's what you see on postcards there.
Yeah. That was like the normal. Well, that was all we did then, really, wasn't it? Because we just kind of like got a feel for the strip.
We
walked down. Like, we didn't really go in anywhere, did we?
No.
Because we didn't have much time anyway, and we were obviously both knackered, weren't we? So.
Well, we were quite early on the. No, it wasn't. Yeah. Well, I can't remember.
We had an early start on a Thursday as well. No, we didn't. No, ignore that.
No. And we walked down as far as Bellagio, but I mean that was quite a long walk anyway there and back. Just
considering
what
time we'd actually gone out as well, because it was like probably like 11, half 11 when we went out, wasn't it? And then obviously both.
But you can get like Ubers and taxis everywhere. They are.
Or you've got the bus. You
we
can
just
get a bus.
To walk.
You get a pass for the bus, which goes over a 24-hour period, I think. So from 12 till 12 or something like that for like say $10, something like that.
So you don't have to walk everywhere.
Yeah, you've got the monorail as well, which is like a little train that seems to go like into some of the hotel kind of things. You've got like little underground bits, I think it is. So you could just get that as well. But yeah, we always walk everywhere, don't we? So going on to Thursday, if we just say this as one whole thing before we go into it too much, Dan, about going into the casinos and stuff like that. So every hotel's got casinos, it's got buffets, it's got shopping centres, bars, restaurants, everything really, doesn't it?
Tuesdays.
Fat Tuesdays, yeah. Although not many of the actual hotels had them.
Yeah.
They were kind of like on the streets around, weren't they? So, just you can go into any of the hotels you want, because obviously they want people to come in and spend in the casinos and spend in the shops and stuff like that, don't they? And they're all kind of different themed.
And we just walked in. Like I didn't like you said, for Australia it was a bit different, but you could just walk in and sit down.
Yeah, it was almost like there were probably security people watching the doors, but they'd only necessarily come up to you if they thought that you weren't old enough to be in there. But then it's also difficult with that because it's a hotel as well, so you're going to get people that are under 21 that are in that hotel, and they might need to walk through at some point. I remember you getting ID'd when you took your little voucher up to the cash out person.
Oh yeah,
cashier. essentially, I suppose that's their way of getting around it. And
it does
you
get
have to,
checked a lot as well. So I guess if you had to travel Vegas, take some ID.
yeah, especially it's not even an age thing sometimes, is it? It's
just a check.
you're going into a club and they need it, so they've essentially got you on file, and or like they need to scan your passport
compared to the UK
or
isn't it?
ID in case something happens to you, kind of thing. Like when we did our activities, they'd want like
yeah,
details, wouldn't they?
pictures
So
of it, proof of life and basically.
yeah, exactly, proof of life picture on the bucket.
Yeah, I might make a song called Proof of Life. It's cool.
So yeah, it's cool to go around. Obviously, if you're a big gambler, it's good to go for
What's
the whole
minimum
thing.
bet, though? Let's say that minimum bet on a table, wasn't it 25? If you went to a table,
so it depends what table you go to. So some of them were $10.
oh right.
And it probably depends what you're doing. It depends what the jackpot is. You're not going to be able to go on a $10 table and get like a 5 million jackpot.
Yeah.
Not necessarily.
Or bet that small and get something so big. Really.
Yeah. So I think the biggest jackpot I saw was 14.5 million. I think it was, which was on a slot machine actually.
Jokes.
And then there was 13.5 million on a table. I think it was. But they're like $100 minimum bets. And if you want that 13 million, you have to be putting like a sort of like $15,000 bet or something like that, don't you? So you have to go kind of jokes with it. But we went on the roulettes and blackjacks most of the time, didn't we? Where it's kind of like $5 minimum bet usually, and just basically sit there and mess around with them.
Yeah, it was good fun. Like I said, I wouldn't say I'm too fussed about the gambling.
You don't need to go there and do it. You do it because you're there, and it's like the experience, isn't it? But it's not like you rely on it.
Like you said, I'd find it more fun. We said with a stag party, or if you went with like, say you had like tens of thousands to just chuck on a table.
You could
it makes
either
the stakes a bit more interesting.
Yeah, you could either spunk a load of money, or you were with a group of people. So not even necessarily a stag do. Just say there was like 5 or 6 of you or something, and you could take an entire table to yourself, and then you could play poker and that, and you wouldn't have to necessarily, especially if you don't know what you're doing as much, you don't have to worry about annoying other people. Yep. Where they might be like, oh, you're taking too long to like decide what you want to do, or you're having to ask the dealer, like, oh, how does this work? Because you're not quite sure. Whereas if it's like a group of you, then you're not necessarily going to get annoyed at each other because it's kind of like fun. It's a lot more fun, isn't it? It's a lot more banter. Whereas other people might not be as considerate.
But there's machines that are of roulette and blackjack as well, so you don't have to go to a table with a dealer. So you've got
where it's a lot easier
different
to
styles
do it
as well, isn't it? There's loads of different roulette style machines, to be honest.
Yeah.
So you can just do whatever. You can go to a little machine by yourself. You don't have to be in like a group of like unknowns and try and figure out the game and that. So
obviously, if you want to win big, then you're better off going to the tables anyway. Yep. But you don't have to. It kind of like caters towards a lot of different people, doesn't it?
It gives you like a voucher if you want to cash out, and then you redeem it at the cashier, or you
go to the ATMs,
like ATM.
Wasn't it? Yeah, that's how that place worked. That's not how like all places would work.
No,
or if you were going to
like that's how they
if you were going to the tables, then you'd get your chips, and you'd probably be that you get your chips, and you have to go to the cashier with your chips, instead of being able to go to like a machine or something. Or if you won like over a certain amount of money, it might tell you have to go to them, sort of thing, because they can't do it any other way.
So like you said, every hotel was like every casino was like that style. To be honest, so same machines and everything like that. So should we just say what ones we went in? We basically went in all of them, didn't we?
We went in virtually everything. The main ones being Bellagio, Paris one, Flamingo,
Venetian,
Harrah's, Link, Caesars, which is fucking mad. MGM, Mandalay Bay, Luxor, rather, yeah. There was a couple that we didn't go. We didn't actually go into Treasure Island, and we didn't go into Circus.
Mirage was our first one, I remember. Yeah, Circus and Treasure Island.
Yeah, they're the two we know we didn't go. There might have been some other ones as well, because there was so many. It's like you come out of one and you can walk straight into another sort of thing. So.
You can use cutting through hotels and casinos as a way of not having to go through the strip. Like
it's a lot easier walking through than trying to barge past all the people, because you walk so slow.
Flicking that fucking...
We'll go on to that afterwards, can't we? We'll do that as a little list at the end of the funny things that happens. Yeah. So on Thursday, we'll go back into like daily stuff. Actually, one more thing about that is the hotels being like kind of particular about certain things. I don't know what I was thinking about then. Like the Paris one obviously is set for like it's got like all these different themes of Paris and that kind of thing. Caesar's one's got like the Atlantis stuff in it and that. The flamingos obviously has got flamingos everywhere.
It would have had flamingos.
Sadly, the flamingos weren't actually there because of bird virus around.
Yeah.
But
There's a
still,
little habitat area for it, and then like Venetian had the gondolas and things like that.
yeah,
And then obviously there you've got the Eiffel Tower replica, you've got Statue of Liberty replica.
yeah.
So it's kind of like there's so much, honestly.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Also, you may have just heard a load of click and clacking from
the
horses below
climbing.
us, so apologies for that. Anyway, right, yeah, so each day we ended up walking around looking in all these different casinos and like kind of betting and stuff like that, but yeah, not going like overboard on that.
Yeah.
So we won't necessarily mention that, but we did that like every single day, didn't we? Because it was cool just to go in and check them all out.
Yeah.
So on Thursday, the first main thing we did, which was cool, was that candy bar.
Oh, okay.
So I saw a sweet shop and thought that looks quite interesting. There's like loads of stuff in there. So I walked in there, and of course the first thing he did was look at the signs, see an elevator, look at or lift, see the signs, and be like, oh, bar, which was actually banging, wasn't it? With dry ice drinks like cocktails.
Yeah, that's it. Makes it all smoky and stuff.
Yeah. So on either of our Instagrams, our own Instagrams, or maybe at some point in the Soul Insights like stuff, socials, you might see some stuff about that.
It's like
but it's
candy
candy martini bar. So loads of different drinks of all these like sweets. Like you get fizzy cola bottles, or you'd get like chocolate balls or Jolly Ranchers, stuff like that.
Vodka gummies
on the things, and obviously vodka gummy bears as well. So that was a cool little experience, wasn't it? 'Cause we'd not had dry ice things.
It's called, I think, I Love Sugar or something. Like that's the shop. It's near Flamingo and everything. So I'd say recommend if you ever went there, check it out because it is pretty cool and the staff.
Oh yeah,
there are
definitely.
Insane.
So, one thing I've got written down here from that day is that the fact I asked for that Macallan 18, Scotch.
Oh yeah.
Or whiskey or whatever. It was on that day, yeah. I didn't get it because it was a bit expensive.
Like
I asked them and it was $180 for a single measure. If it had been like 40, 50, I might have got one. But as soon as I heard the one, I thought, oh no, not
you
getting
saw the
that.
Style of the bottles there.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a lot.
Yeah,
on that
some
shelf,
of them
to be
mad.
honest. Yeah.
Like that person in one of the clubs, which is actually, I'll come on to that in a second because that's actually in the story. So Jabberwockies.
Okay.
What are they?
Like a dance group, they open them for like the NBA and things like that, NFL. They're quite American style, I think.
Yeah.
So obviously around UK, I don't think they would have seen it unless it's on socials.
So they've done a couple music videos, haven't they, as well? So I can't remember. Taylor
Swift. They've done like loads of others, to be
Yeah.
honest. But I see them mainly for the NBA side, I think.
Yeah.
But they're awesome. Like they're just.
Or like finding stuff on TikTok about them and as well. Like you see them doing their little dances kind of thing.
I'd
'Cause I've
say-
seen it come up a few times, and I don't follow them at all. So.
If you don't know who they're like, they wear white masks with bucket hats. That might put a image then. 'Cause they're
yeah.
probably familiar.
I mean,
then.
if you
won't
type-
know Jabberwockies, is it?
Literally type in Jabberwockies and you might recognise them. You might be like, oh shit, yeah, actually I've seen these before, but you don't necessarily know what they're
Super
called
Bowl
in that.
last year. I think, last time.
Sweaty, if they did.
They did like that little halftime show thing.
Yeah.
So they're sweaty, yeah. Like
it was a cool little show. I don't really know what I was expecting. It was cool that they interacted with the crowd as well.
yeah.
Like they came out and they
karaoke.
they were doing their little like cheesy little like dances like this when the people from the crowd were doing karaoke. Like they'd pick a song and then they'd pick somebody from the crowd and they'd have to sing.
It was awesome.
And then they'd be there doing some stupid little dancing, wouldn't they? So
that's at the MGM.
that was pretty cool. The MGM, yeah.
To check them out.
They've actually got their own store in there. I assume it's permanently there. They've got their store, and then behind that is like a little room where they do their shows. There's a little bar in there as well,
which helps because
you get a few hundred in there, I think.
They said the MGM's like the
maybe.
sports centre for it. I think it's like all sports themed, so it makes sense the Jabberwockies is there because that's what I think they're for, like NBA and NFL and stuff. So.
That's where we went in that sweaty sports restaurant bar place, wasn't it?
Bar,
where you got billions of TVs everywhere. Something tap. But if you went in there, you'd know which one it is because there's so many TVs in there. And then after that, the Steve Aoki at Hakkasan, which was inside the MGM as well.
Yep.
So we got these party wristbands, so it's worth looking on the Tao, so TAO group.
Hospitality.
Tao Hospitality Group, onto their website, which is what the main like bulk of the clubs are. So there's a few different ones, Hakkasan and Omni are the two we went in, and then you've got a few other ones as well. But they do a wristband for, I think it was about $70, wasn't that?
Something like that.
Where you can go into all of them from a Thursday to a Sunday. So there's like 5 nightclubs, and you can kind of hop in and out of all of them if you want to. So it's better than if you're a dude paying a $30 cover charge each time. And we basically got there and walked straight in, didn't we?
Yeah.
We shown them the wristband or shown them the ticket on our phone before we got the wristband and said, yeah, we've got this. And they literally just let us, well, they didn't let us walk in. They said, oh, this queue, which kind of like priority, wasn't it?
Yeah, it seemed like
and you just kind of easily got in instead of having to wait in line as well. So it's worth looking at that if you go in, especially if there's a couple different things that you want to see, because there was a few different ones that we thought, oh, they'd be good to check out, wouldn't they?
Especially what I've realised as well, like locals and stuff, they seem like they get more of a discount than the travellers, isn't it? Like,
yeah.
So that might end up being cheaper if you want to go and party or do the club scene to get that wristband, because it would save you a lot of money. And then obviously if you wanted to do like hire a VIP table or bottle service, then obviously that's all you'd have to focus on. So you get the entry sorted.
So going on to that, there were some people in front of us, or when we were about to leave, we kind of stopped again on the steps, but there were some people in front of us, and he was filling out the check, and I glanced down, not meaning to look or anything, but I glanced down and it was like $15,000. Just looking at it like, Jesus Christ, how much do you want to spend? And looking at some of the bottles of stuff they had, it was like sweaty bottles.
A lot of it you see, like to get like the band out, you know, like the little so when you order like a bottle service, you'd have like the girls with the light sticks, isn't it? Yeah. And then you had like, sometimes you had the little drummer dudes, isn't it? But I think it's if you order like a crazy style, so like Dom Perignon, Ace of Spades.
Yeah, so some of the sweatier bottles. Basically, you probably had to spend a certain amount on a bottle, and they'd do that.
Yeah, I think so. Like a service.
Or maybe like when you first come to your table, they'd do it, because we had those people stood in front of us, didn't we?
Yeah.
At an empty table, and then when the people came to that table, they brought the drinks over, and then they were doing their little light stick things and their drums, weren't they? So, it's pretty cool anyway. Friday.
And Steve Aoki, obviously, banging.
And Steve Aoki. So
Tomorrowland, we've seen them, so second time.
Yeah,
seen them this year,
decent
isn't
artist.
it? Yeah,
so.
it's good fun.
Friday. So other than obviously casinos and stuff, shooting range was the first thing, and it's the first big thing we did when we were there. Yeah. That isn't like, I'll say, standard.
So we had like a couple hours sleep.
Although Jabberwockies, actually, that was a big thing, wasn't it? So,
yeah.
But yeah,
early
so
start.
a couple hours sleep from like 5 a.m. till 7 a.m.
Yeah.
And then off to shooting range. So a lot of the activities. Can you remember who we booked it through? What the place was called?
Adrenaline Mountain.
Oh no, the online place. The
online place.
The place you got the tickets from.
Don't know.
Good. I'm going to bear with me. I'm just having a look.
They're the people who did the shooting
Viator.
Range. Oh, okay. They're like the third party people.
Yeah, so it's worth. Viator is where we got basically all of our stuff.
V-I-A-T-O-R?
Yeah, something like that. All of our extra stuff from. So if you have a look on there, you'll probably be able to find quite a lot of the good stuff. So the shooting range was Adrenaline Mountain.
We didn't have a bad experience with them either, did we? So you can
we haven't had a bad experience with anybody.
People through Viator as well, and you can have a lot. Really it's just a cool way if you, like we said, sorting out all the trips and stuff. If you didn't directly know about them, that's another way how you'd be able to get everything under one place. Yeah,
because literally, Jabberwockies, we did that. Shooting
just the
range.
Thing, if you got a ticket to Jabberwockies or something else, you had to go box office.
If you got a ticket to a show, you've got to go to the box office. Especially in the MGM, that was the easiest one, wasn't it? Just to go to the box office. Even if you're not sure, just go to the box office and be like, do I need a ticket for this or not?
They should be able to change it into something else. So.
Yeah, when it's off-site stuff like Adrenaline Mountain and Sunbuggy, you wouldn't need it, I don't think.
No,
but it's always best to check anyway, isn't it?
Yeah.
They had some cool guns there. Definitely an experience and something you kind of have to do when you're in America, I think, isn't it?
Yeah. Semi-automatic, automatic, handgun.
Shotgun, sniper,
yeah. So the highest caliber round we fired was the 308s, just because it was like part of an extra or something.
If you wanted to find the Barrett 50 cal, then you had to pay extra.
Next time, I'll get
next time, and then you get on that Browning as well.
Yeah.
So mounted machine gun.
It's cool just to get an experience for it. Yeah. So it was cool to fire. My favorite one was the Desert Eagle, I think.
Golden Desert Eagle, like cartel boss gun, and
cool.
Definitely worth doing and. Great from Adrenaline Mountain. They come pick you up, or if you select the option, you can select options with pickups, which is probably the way to do it because some of these places are a bit of a bitch to get to.
Yeah.
Especially that one. I don't know how you'd get there if you didn't get the.
You went through another town. They said it's called Good Springs. So if you ever played Fallout New Vegas, he says that's one of the
and
maps.
It was
there.
it was pretty cool, wasn't it? Like just to see the weird little place, and it's got some of like the oldest buildings,
oldest bar there, I think.
Yeah,
Bullet Hot was
like
from the Wild
saloon.
West, yeah, it's cool.
So it's cool. You see like different side of it, but when you get onto that off-road track, I don't think your Uber would take you up there, would it?
No, it's mass your car up. I think.
Yeah.
So.
So Adrenaline Mountain, and check that out because that's well good. The only awkward part for us was trying to figure out where the pickup point was from one of the hotels, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Because obviously you got to go to like the minibus pickup, shuttle bus pickup, or valet pickup.
Sometimes,
they tell you where, and
hard
if you haven't
that
been
out.
in that hotel, you don't necessarily know, do you? So that took us a little bit, but we managed to do it for everything anyway.
That was good fun.
So fantasy show with Murray the Magician.
Oh yeah, that was on the Friday as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So this is Corin's birthday, actual birthday.
Yeah.
So the fantasy show, is it what you were expecting? So
it's it the strip's biggest tease.
Yeah, that one.
So it's just one big strip show. Incredible, looking people, to be honest. There
is pictures on. Well, there's a picture on Corin's Instagram. There might be on mine at some point.
Obviously,
I don't know.
you can't take videos and stuff in there, but it was pretty cool. We have front rows as well, so the interactive the first 3 rows of the crowd as well. They do more to them, I guess.
Definitely an experience. It's cool seeing you've got the obviously pole dancers, the woman who was dangling from the
ribbon thing,
the ribbon that was hanging from the ceiling, working her way up and then dropping herself off and stuff like that. It's cool to see.
Yeah, exactly.
Doing all their weird little different dances and stuff.
Boss.
Yeah, exactly. The host was really good. She said she'd been doing it for 10 years.
Yeah.
And it's shown. Her singing was decent as well, wasn't it? So.
And then Murray the Magician was the interval sort of person. That
they'd have a moment maybe to get ready for something else bigger or something. And then he'd come out and do some he was banter, wasn't he?
He was cool. Yeah.
He was on, I assume, America's Got Talent. And he impressed on there. I don't know how far he got. But he's got quite a lot of subscribers on YouTube.
Yeah, he was entertaining. To be honest.
He did well. Good. Yeah, he was really interactive.
Yeah.
Best thing about the show, old lady.
Oh yeah.
So the host came out into the crowd. They'd come out into the crowd every now and then and do stuff. And the host came out into the crowd and she was walking around. And she went on. There was a bit of a gap, so a walkway behind us. And she went to the end, and she had this person in front of her, and the person who was with this one was turning around, looking at her, and she was shh, telling her to be quiet and turn around, don't give it away, kind of thing. And then she went above her head and just kind of sat down and bopped her butt on top of her head, and she was oh, kind of thing. And then she went around the front, and I can't remember exactly what she said, but her face dropped, and she just thought shit, because I'm fairly certain she thought it was a man and it was this woman's husband. And she looked at her, and as her face dropped, she kind of went oh, and who do we have here? And started speaking, and said to the other one, oh, who have you brought with you? And it's oh, my mum. Bearing in mind, the daughter was 70, the mother 90, and she just sat on her head. And then
still rubbed her tit, wasn't it?
Exactly. So she was stood in front of her. This woman did not speak English, so they must have been. I assume they were Mexican, because I think they're speaking Spanish. And she was do you like boobs? And then she translated. She's yeah. And then do you want my boobs in your face? And then she translated. And it was yeah. So she full on grabbed her head and buried her face in this, buried this woman's face into her chest and started wiggling her boobs. Just some 90-year-old woman, or older, or maybe not, but yeah, some old lady getting that done to her. That's the time of your life right there, isn't it? Heart attack right there to send you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Nah, it was a cool show though. Honestly, I would say
it was something to experience, wasn't it?
Yeah,
it was cool. They've got their own calendars and merch and stuff as well. So if you want to have a look, type in probably fantasy at the Luxor.
Yeah,
it's probably the easiest thing to type in. And then you can have a look at all of their merch and stuff, and
the straight face stuff. Afterwards, isn't it?
Straight, you get to take a picture after with a couple of them, and you can see it on Kyron's Instagram of him. And I did it, and I managed to get them straight face with me, so that was pretty cool, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was banter, wasn't
Martin Garrix next at Omnia, which is another Teo.
Friday,
Let's call it
isn't
Teo.
Mad
So
Friday.
still on the Friday. So another one of them. So that was a cool thing to do, wasn't it?
Yeah, we managed to go up top as well, wasn't it? Look down. That was quite
so you
cool.
get a better view on it, isn't it, really? So yeah, Martin Garrix for the third time this
Obviously,
year.
like he's insane live. Yeah, like you said, he's number one DJ at the minute, isn't he? I think he's got given the award again. So he's just unreal. Like,
it does show
lifestyle
like
is
his
crazy.
energy as well.
Yeah, his music is just mental.
Although I feel like Steve Aoki had better energy. Like he had more like, I'll say in your face, but Martin Garrix is more like, because he's more high known.
I think
it's kind of like he interacts in a way, but he doesn't really like. He'll acknowledge the crowd and that, but like Steve Aoki getting up on top of the decks and everything, like jumping around.
But
and all
I feel
that.
like Martin Garrix's music, obviously it sounds quite similar like stuff, but it keeps the crowd like locked in. Where Stevie's quite different with some of his music. It's quite like techno-y at times, where I feel like it throws you off every now and then. But obviously him as a person, as like what you said, as a DJ, like he does a lot of cool stuff, doesn't he? Like he bought his little hand. But Martin Garrix, like music-wise, I think, it's like
top tier, and
yeah.
Right. So we've gone to the Saturday, which during the day I say we were a bit lost, weren't we? Really, just wandering around aimlessly again in all these different places, having some weird stuff. So the main things we did. So we had our helicopter tour, I suppose you call it. So like a 10 to 15 minute flight, which takes you up and down the strip. So you get a cool view. I spoke to my sister who went, and she went up top of the Strat Tower, and she said for us to go in there, and I was like, oh, we've literally just done this helicopter thing. She's like, oh, okay, yeah, so that's what you'll get from the Strat. So the Strat would be another cool place to go up, I suppose.
Yeah.
But because we had the helicopter ride, it was probably a bit unnecessary
meals,
in a
wasn't
sense.
it? We were going to have a meal there first night, I think, wasn't it?
But it looked a bit expensive as well, didn't it?
Well, I think it was booked out as well, I think.
And yeah, exactly. You probably have to book quite a way in advance.
But yeah, it's worth seeing like the strip at night sort of thing, like all the time.
So I think doing daytime would have been a different experience, but I don't think it would have been as good. Seeing everything lit up, which is kind of what Vegas is all about, isn't it? About the flashing lights and in your face kind of thing.
Yeah.
Makes it worth doing it at night, and there was quite a lot of people, and it was really fast turnover, wasn't it? Like,
imagine that.
You'd go through all your safety stuff and all that, and then you'd literally go outside in your groups and wait. As soon as the helicopter lands, one group leaves the helicopter, the next group gets in, and it goes back up.
Yeah.
Like, it was mad. Like, between the helicopter landing and taking off, you've probably got like 4 or 5 minutes, haven't you, for everybody to kind of like get in, get buckled up and all that.
Yeah.
Or get off and then
but
get
again,
in.
like, it didn't feel rushed though, the experience. Like, it was still really good. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Really well, like, sort of thing. It's just
efficient.
Yeah. It's just, you can tell that that's what they do as a tour. So it's just pretty decent.
Worth it, yeah.
No, everyone's still really friendly to, even if they have to say the same safety briefing like 80 times that night.
Yeah.
It's still jokes, isn't it? I mean, in the UK, I imagine you'd be pissed off after like the second time saying
exactly. You'd start getting like a bit moody. Right. So
what else did we do on the Saturday?
Saturday. So what I think was the best nightlife one, Ludacris.
What did we do during the day though?
Walked around aimlessly. We didn't really do much, did we? Yeah, so we were just going in everywhere.
Yeah.
I think we slept in a bit, didn't we? Because obviously we'd been up early on Friday, and we got back at like 5 a.m. on Saturday morning, and stayed in bed till maybe like 10, didn't we? So, and then obviously you go out and have food and stuff, and wander around and look in all the hotels and all that again. Yeah. That was probably the day we did like Bellagio and Caesars, wasn't it, or something like that? And the French place as well, I think. So.
Yeah.
Checking out the bigger places that you want a bit longer to go into. So Ludacris at Zouk nightclub, I think that's how you say it.
Zouk Group.
Which he had special appearance from Kevin Hart, which was pretty cool. Getting Kevin Hart up on the I say stage. It wasn't really stage, was it? But
it was cool because I don't think Kevin Hart knew Luda was coming out that night, so he just wanted to go. He finished his comedy tour, I think, that weekend.
Yeah, so I think he had the Friday
and
Saturday.
He just wanted to club there anyway, so he was just in the building when we kind of came in, I think.
Well, he stayed because Ludacris was there. He would have gone home, but he stayed in Vegas so that he could stay with Ludacris that night, or so that he could like go into the club with Ludacris. And yeah, obviously he had his VIP and all that, and then he came out on stage and he did a little like talking bit as well.
Yeah, it's cool.
So yeah, that was cool, and yeah, it's cool seeing Ludacris, to be honest. Different style than Martin Garrix and Steve Aoki, which definitely. I prefer. And playing all of his old school stuff as well. The crowd singing along, like it was mad how much everybody knew.
I like the outfits of the staff there as well.
Yeah, the staff in that place in Zook were
People in
absolute
that
fire.
club, fire, to be honest.
The one dude telling everybody to move out of the way so that you could see properly.
Oh yeah.
Oh dear.
But they said, yeah, like honestly, the style of people that in that club, like even the staff and just the actual people, just mad. To be honest, it's just
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they looked insane.
Yeah, so that was another 5 a.m. night.
Yeah, exactly.
Sunday, which was the best experience I think in the morning, which was the dune buggy chase or drive, however you want to call it.
Yeah.
Mini Baja dune buggy chase, I think it's called, by Sun Buggy. So go and check them out as well. Elijah, who was our little like tour person, the person that drove around and we followed him basically, was decent.
Yeah.
So shout out to him, and Dan the man for coming to pick us up.
Got it. Yeah.
Yeah. So
there was he kind of saw that we just wanted to get lit with it as well, I think. So it was quite cool that we did just send ourselves.
So we got upgraded. We were only supposed to have a half an hour, but we ended up with an hour, which was good because it obviously gives you longer. But it just meant us going with this family that were there as well, that were in a buggy of 4. But it didn't mess us up.
No.
And they got stuck once, and okay, yeah, we had to wait around for 5 minutes, but
we got stuck twice.
That was. Oh yeah, okay,
so
yeah.
We had to get out and lift them.
So
over this
out of
cliff.
those 5-10 minutes is time that we wouldn't have originally had anyway. So we still ended up with like 20 minutes longer than we would have, which was decent. It rags the shit out of your hands, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Hard steering wheel, and you have to do a tight grip on it so that your wheels don't like fling off to the sides and all that. But at the same time, you kind of have to let the steering wheel run through your hand, don't you? So like you can drift around the corners and shit.
Yeah.
Doing donuts and all that. The dude basically, the dude said, don't slow down. If you're going over like a little dune or something, send yourself, because otherwise, if you slow down, you'll nosedive.
Yeah.
Especially down that really steep hill.
You usually get the wheels locked in the sand and stuff.
Yeah, so you'll get stuck. If you slow down, then the back can go over the front, basically, so you can kind of like front flip, or you'll nosedive and the front will just crash into the floor and it'll kind of like flick you forward and it'll hurt you. So the fact that they actually say, send yourself, and it's only like, it was like 25 mile an hour, wasn't it? I think was kind of like, it was capped at.
Yeah.
I think it said they could do 30, but it was like 25 was like what you'd end up doing, because it was quite difficult to get up to like max speed anyway, wasn't it? Because by the time you get quite fast, you're either turning or dropping off something, in which case you're slowing down a bit anyway. But yeah, the fact they just say send yourself, and 25 mile an hour felt quite fast in it, didn't it?
What the courses that they made us do, it's not like you if you think 25, I think it's really slow, but it's not like you're going in like a straight line over sand dune bumps. What we would do is like a slalom sort of course, so it's more like you're swinging around left and right, and then you have like a little joyride area where you're literally donutting and things.
Yeah,
so
and then you've got the cliff drop
track
thing, haven't you, where you're basically going down something that's like, if you're watching, it's like that
pretty
steep.
vertical, yeah.
So
you see it disappear, and it's like, okay, we're starting to go over
it's
there
like
then.
what, 75 degrees steep.
You still wouldn't
maybe.
slow down, like, you just went off like.
Yeah, exactly. You kind of slow down a bit because you're like, what is this? And you can then kind of see over it, and you're like, right, I need to put my foot down so that I drop down properly. Straighten yourself up and fucking send yourself, basically.
I quite like the slalom thing though, because I think maybe if you just straight lined it over sand dunes, it's probably a bit boring after a while, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. You
like
need to be able
to
flick yourself around. Yeah, so
quite fun.
Definitely the coolest experience, I think.
Yeah, it was awesome.
The other thing was checking out downtown Las Vegas,
Fremont Street.
Was Fremont Street. Yeah, so you got the Fremont Street experience, which is kind of like an inside bit. I say inside bit, it's like a little walkway sort of thing, isn't it? With a canopy. Yeah, that's the word. It's got a light show that goes on every hour, I think it is. So if you're interested in that, we did go and check it out, but we didn't really think. We thought it was going to be a bit more than it was, didn't we? So
yeah.
I didn't have a clue what to expect, but when I watched it, I was like, oh. Which I suppose because it's downtown, it's not going to be as new and fancy as the Strip. So maybe that's like, it's a bit more retro for that area kind of thing.
Fremont, it attracts like the tourists, if anything, because I think it's like what you said, it's the old school Vegas and things like that. Yeah. So you have like your little zip line wire that you can do down that street, which I think looks a bit cooler than doing it at the Link. So if you want to do something like that, then go Fremont Street. But
and
yes,
suggested to get an Uber.
we were suggested to as well.
We got told
neighborhood.
to, and when we drove from the Sahara to downtown or to Fremont, you could kind of see, because you could see, I say kids on their like BMXs on the side of the road with their balaclavas and stuff like that. They were obviously like selling drugs and stuff like that. So it became a lot more like rural, didn't it? You'd be able to tell like a lot more like, oh, okay, this is a bit of a dodgier area. Yeah, maybe it wouldn't be best to walk through. And there was hardly anybody walking there, was there?
No, that was
until you got to Fremont Street, and then all of a sudden there's just the amount of people.
But like you said, it's like 10-minute drive. It's not like Fremont Street's miles away.
No, exactly. It was like $8 to get there, wasn't it, in the Uber? It's cheap enough. Yeah, it doesn't really matter, does it?
Yeah.
You might be able to get the bus up there as well. I don't actually know how the bus works, really.
But it's definitely cool, like you said, just to check it out. And you've got a load of free concerts there as well.
Yeah, in Fremont Street Experience part, there was, I think, 3 stages, and there was 3 bands playing at the moment, which, again, is a different type of music, isn't it? Which is pretty cool.
Old school rock.
There was a lot of people in there. One of the groups was called Spandex. That's all I can remember.
It was like country and western smashed, like linked with like old school rock. I thought that's what sort of vibe I was getting from there, wasn't it?
It was alright, to be fair.
Which again was like, well, it would be, I think, in that sort of era.
Yeah.
Things. It would be like that sort of music. So.
And then you've got the
it's cool, though.
Four Queens Casino, and you've got the oldest casino in Vegas, I think it is, Golden Gate, which was cool to see. And they did have a lot of like older style looking slot machines in there, didn't they? Like the 1-cent slot machines.
Yeah, they're old school ones,
where you look at it and you think like, okay, that does look a lot older than most of the other
race,
stuff.
Isn't it? Derby race stuff.
The and they have the biggest version of some game, but I can't remember what game it was.
Something table, I forgot. It begins with K, I think. But yeah.
Anyway,
Keno, I think.
Keno, Keno. Keno to tone. So they had, I think it is anyway, the biggest Keno table in Vegas. I'll say it might be in the world or in the country. I don't know, but it's in Vegas anyway. I think.
It was sick, yeah.
So yeah, that was that. We were gonna go and check out. Can you remember what the place was called? That club.
Marquee Nightclub.
Marquee Nightclub, because they have some on Sunday nights. They have some like circus thing. We were thinking it was going to be a lot more like circusy, like there was going to be acts and kind of thing, but we kind of had a look and we thought maybe it's not, and we were both fucking exhausted, weren't we?
It kind of hit then.
So yeah, by the time we got back from Fremont Street, it was already late anyway, wasn't it?
Kind of just.
And then you just kind of we just passed out. And knowing obviously we were leaving on Monday and there was still something else we wanted to do, it was like, okay, we'll just kind of we'll just kind of admit that we're fucked and kind of like just leave it for tonight.
It seemed like an old school thing. I imagine if you went back to Vegas again, it'd be cool to see like the carnival circus part of it, because I think that's what originally it would have been, something similar.
Yeah.
Like when we saw Elvis, so like listening from that, like the part of the film that I did watch, it seemed like it was part of a carnival show anyway. He seemed to be an act. So like what the entertainment was carnival, like circus style.
Yeah, there will be. There would have been stuff like that as well. That might as well be like you get a bit more of that experience during the summer. It might not be. I don't know. I'm just guessing at the moment. But
all the pools in the hotels, all pool parties and stuff. So it'd be cool, like say if we went during the summer, see how different it looks.
Other than the fact it's like 50 degrees. Yeah, that's how hot it gets. In
obviously,
the summer,
all the pools when we were there were all closed and things, but you wouldn't really want to be in a pool with the weather
in November. 15 degrees. Yeah. So right on Monday. So Area 15. So the things, it's a new build, like kind of gaming area, I'm going to say. Game and illusion place. So the things we did were virtual reality zombies, Wink World, Museum Fiasco, and we went into the Emporium Arcade and Bar. If I just say the Emporium Arcade and Bar, because the only thing I want to say about it is it had the old school like pinball machines, like Pac-Man machines, Donkey Kong and all that.
Yeah.
All the old school like arcade machines, and it was cool to see them, to be honest. Obviously it was quite quiet in there, but we went during the day. So that's probably why. You go at night time and it'll probably be buzzing. Wink World and Museum Fiasco were, let's just say, kind of the same thing. It was like some weird like light displays, wasn't it? Especially Wink World was
I think it's more like a psychedelic
trip.
Yeah.
It's like you've just taken a load of like ecstasy or something.
Acid tab or something.
Yeah, acid, that'd probably be better off,
yeah, it was cool to see that. And
the main thing we obviously went in there and saw, or the reason we kind of went in there, was the virtual reality. I can't remember exactly what it's called, but if you type in Area 15, you'll be able to see. So we did one called Lost Patient, wasn't it?
Patient Zero.
Patient Zero, sorry. And it's one of the ones where you put your headset and your body thingy on, and you literally run around. I say run around. You're in a room and you've got free movement, haven't you? So you can kind of like walk around a little bit. Definitely a cool experience. Definitely better than normal VR.
We look like Master Chiefs.
Exactly. Yeah. No. No.
But yeah, like the fact that it's more interactive, where instead of like having a VR headset and you just stand yourself into the side of a wall, you can actually walk around an area and have your gun. I don't know, it just looked a bit better. Like I could sit there and wave at you and walk to you, sort of thing. So I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah. After that, it was home time, wasn't it? So
yeah, and then we just went after that, wasn't it? So I want to know, what'd you say? Like the overall service in Vegas was insane.
Yeah, so customer service it's extremely
So
friendly. Obviously, they work on tips, so retail and hospitality, especially, they're going to be, because they want the tip money, which does take up a big chunk of change, doesn't it?
They say it's
when
about 18% tip. That's what we're thinking.
20% is normal. Anything less is because you had not the experience you were expecting, I think it is, and anything higher is exceeded expectations. Under, I think it was 15% is considered rude to be able to leave it, or you've had a bad experience and that's why you've left less than 15%. I think that's how it was. So.
But they still, like, you can definitely tell when they receive the tip though, because obviously they're really appreciative of it and everything.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
That.
Yeah.
So I'd say like the customer service is great. Like the people in general were as well. To be honest, everyone we met were just keen to start a conversation.
Yeah,
with
exactly. Yeah.
Things. You know, a lot there. You'd be waiting to cross the road, and a whole batch of people would just appear, and then they might end up start talking to you. And I'd say the cleanliness of the strip. Was
so there was always
well.
people walking around cleaning, wasn't there, with their mops and shit.
No rubbish. I didn't see.
No, there's always like litter pickers. I expect the no rubbish, all the cans and stuff, is helped by the homeless people. Although you don't really want the homeless people, they do collect the cans and stuff in their trolleys, so it does kind of clean it up a little bit as well, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, you never really see anything dirty or anything.
No,
even in the casinos and that, it was all really clean, like it was well kept.
Yeah,
the clubs,
exactly.
They were all walking around. You had people walking around with like mop kind of things, mopping around, or people with sweeping bits as well, sweeping up all the rubbish. You could smoke pretty much wherever you want to.
It's mad that.
There would have been specific areas where it's like, please don't. Maybe like say at the bar or something.
People and they were they're smoking. That's
or in the middle of a crowd or whatever. But yeah, you can stand in a casino. You could sit at a table and smoke kind of thing. You can drink wherever you want.
Yeah. You're allowed to bring in other stuff into somewhere else, so you can walk into a casino with a drink in your hand, and they wouldn't tell you to.
We had it in a restaurant where we ordered a drink, and the server was like, the waitress was like, "Oh, don't feel like you have to get a drink from here. If you want to go out and get a drink from somewhere else and bring it in here, you can." And that was a bit of a shock, really. So, okay. If you went into like a proper restaurant, it'd be different, and then you'd probably get charged corkage. But if you just go into like one of the smaller restaurants in a casino or something, then I think it's a bit different, which is pretty cool as well. So
they're just cool little facts, isn't it? Yeah, just in case you're thinking of going.
So let's quickly go through some of the funny things we've got written down. So Fat Tuesdays is a cool place to go. So it's like having a Slurpee from 7-Eleven, but it's got alcohol in it, basically.
The size is different. Like you can get some mad size one, to be honest.
They did kind of mess us up a bit, didn't they? Like it made my stomach hurt. But that's probably just me. Everybody was drinking it. People were asking us where we got it from and all that, like where the closest one was. So yeah, it's pretty mad. And
just like alcoholic slushies. Did you say that? Yeah.
Yeah. Card flicking. So you've got, they're like, "Oh, are you going to the strip club tonight?" And they're
so
literally
many times.
They're in there flicking their cards in their hands.
Yeah.
But you eventually you end up just taking one, and turns out it's not a strip club. It's actually an escort service. So what did you say it was?
Prostitute shopping list.
Yeah, exactly. So you basically, I went on the website just to see what it was, and you could go down. It was kind of like being on Tinder. You go down, you pick which one you want, or you swipe through them.
Yeah.
You can read a little description about what they want, who they are, and that sort of thing. And then you can like reserve them and stuff like that. And it's like, what the fuck is this? Have you ever watched
Taken One? And there's like the bidding, like at the end, like where they're always watching someone, and then
imagine that. It's like eBay, but for prostitutes. Right. The only other thing that's not to do with crackheads, basically, is bagheads. So we went past a restaurant, and clearly Dick's, clearly the restaurant one of the things was like, it's not a party hat that you put on your head. You get a bag.
It had writing on it though. I
Yeah,
didn't read
so
what it said though.
I assume you can get a bag and you can write whatever you want on the bag, and then you stick it on your head. So there was so many people, and there was like some sumo wrestling looking dude, wasn't there? Some like big dude with his belly out doing like lap dances in there as well. So I don't know if that was just like maybe like a Hindu thing or something.
Yeah,
or like it was just some sort of jokes thing.
I think,
but that's quite funny as well.
I like the that Dick's. I think it's in Mandalay Bay. Is that where we were? I think it's Excalibur, one of those. It's down that side of the strip. But yeah, I think you go there for a laugh and food. That's what it is. The style of that restaurant.
Yeah, shits and giggles. So we'd be writing like "nice sock" on our bags.
Yeah.
Sock market. Satsu now. Sock market. Yeah, go and check out the sock market in. I can't remember
Mandalay Bay. I think
was it Mandalay Bay. Yeah. So you got the shark reef in there as well, which we couldn't see, but yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
Right. So there were some funny things that the homeless said, or that people said. So do you want to do the dollar song?
Oh yeah, you probably know the lyrics there, do you?
Not really.
I need a motherfucking dollar in this motherfucking cup.
Yeah. So at least he was working for his money, the homeless man. So he's singing his little song. Well, hair in a bun. Let's have some fun.
Oh yeah, you got your hair in a bun. Let's have some fun.
Yeah. He was so ugly that he was cute. Somebody being savage, saying this was just like a normal person saying like, oh yeah. The pretty girl wouldn't talk to him, so he talked to me instead.
Yeah, that was just a staff member, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was just some like, funny person.
Some dude dropped like all his food on the floor and he's picking it up, and he's like, I don't give a fuck, I'm picking up every last drop of this shit. Oh, I love him, honestly. So good.
And then the best one, we were walking down a little street to go to it looked like a dodgy street. Nobody else was walking down there. And some dude walked past us. This was on our way to the helicopter place, and he goes, "So you're going to a party, are ya?" We just looked at him and just carried on walking past. Yeah, exactly. That's never leaving my head. Like, that lives in there rent free now.
The whole time we're in the helicopter, like, "So you're going to a party, are you?"
So you're going to a party, are ya?
There's another one as well. So obviously in Vegas, you're gonna get all the fancy cars and like Corvettes, Lambos, all that sort of stuff, and you'll see them like send themselves. Some of the people, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
And this homeless dude in his little trolley. He was like, look at you thinking you're, what was it, a badass in your fast ass car.
Thinking you're badass in your fast ass car.
It's so good.
It's funny, yeah. People watching in the sense and like
they
people
don't bug
listening.
You. Like honestly, we weren't like directly approached by people.
Remember in
they just minded their
Chicago?
own business.
Chicago, we got bums, like not literally, but they were so like they were pestering you. They were like holding doors open, expecting stuff. They were constantly asking for stuff. We got asked maybe once or twice this time, and it was just kind of like in the distance. But nobody was like
more asked for strip club
taking piss or anything. Yeah, just strip club like. Or people saying like, "Oh, do you want to come do this activity like Grand Canyon or like nightclub or whatever?"
Oh, a couple of those, yeah.
Yeah, so there was quite a lot of them people around. So you wouldn't be short for things to do going there. I think that's about it. So if you go and basically gamble, drink, go to the clubs, and get lit,
flicking their fucking cards. Like.
Yeah,
so you said if you decide to walk the strip like any time, you at different times of the day you will have different things that will last. Obviously at night you get asked to go to a strip club, possibly.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, yeah. And then during the day, you might get asked to do day tours.
Yeah.
But you could, like you said, take an Uber, all sorts.
Yeah, or the bus or whatever. So
imagine the traffic sometimes is a bit annoying. Like sometimes I think it'd be cooler to walk the strip because I guess you'd see more and like you'd see more people interaction. Whereas in the car, you just obviously
sat in the car waiting because the traffic's not moving anymore.
But all in all, like insane trip. Nothing went bad actually. So
no, it didn't actually. No.
Like besides the Fat Tuesday bit, but even that wasn't.
That's not bad, is it? That was just it was just an us
anyway.
situation. Yeah.
Yeah.
The worst thing that happened was our flight got delayed by like 20 minutes.
Oh, coming home.
Yeah, that was technically the worst thing that happened.
The most boring was we went to see the Vegas sign actually.
Oh, see, that was more useful than what was it? It wasn't the light show. There was one other thing.
Oh, Fremont. Yeah.
There was the light show in Fremont. I thought was the biggest waste of time. I swear there was one other thing that we went and saw it, and we were like, "What is this?" It might have been Fremont Street. I don't know, but like, as in from our personal experience, that's what I thought. Because the sign is like, yeah, it's a tourist attraction, so it's kind of like you do it for the sake of doing it. But there's, I suppose, some sort of reason behind it. A straight face picture. So I thought like, it's all right to see. Like it's something that you've gone there, you may as well see it. But yeah, the light thing in Fremont I thought was most.
You got to think as well. Maybe because we went to see the sign at night, you're gonna have people there that shine a light to think that makes your picture better. You're always gonna have people that are gonna try and think of something else to do, so you can tip them for something.
Yeah,
that's what I felt like.
Yeah,
there's always something that, isn't it? So just watch out for that sort of thing. If you go to see the sign, there might be that at night, which I didn't think, but obviously, it's what it is.
Cool.
But I think that's it, mate.
Let's move off. Yes, so we'll be on to new music now, won't we?
New music. Let's have a quick look. I've got it up actually. Okay, it's a mixture again. So I start off with Dermot Kennedy, Sonder. Obviously, stole the word. Banging word. Pharrell Williams, Travis Scott, Down in Atlanta. Saweetie, The Single Life. Roddy Ricch, Feed the Streets 3. Digga D, Chief Reese Freestyle. Wes Nelson, Message from My Ex, 3 words, Message to My Ex. The Vamp, Seat at the Table. Don Toliver, Do It Right. Kid Ink, Wiz Khalifa, Big Burner. I Am Sudi Deluxe. We were going to see Wiz Khalifa actually.
Yeah, but we couldn't.
Something in the Way live in the 99X Music Lounge. Sticky Fingers, Sidelines. Steve Aoki, High Request, Genesis Remix. Young Blue, Tantra. Whit Lowry, Livingston, The War I'm Scared to Face, and Mike Sorry.
Just to say quickly, that Steve Aoki one is actually a week old. Yeah. A week older, we should have said it last episode, but we didn't realise until he'd actually said to us in the club.
He's given some out.
That he was giving out some CDs and said, this is my new album kind of thing. So, we obviously heard about it a week late. But anyway. Right, on to the main one.
And then mine dropped.
Yep, so Mixed Emotions Everywhere Now.
That came out on my birthday on the Friday, so it's quite cool to see that it came out all to plan whilst over there. It's quite cool. Showing the Uber driver.
All of his socials are in the description of the YouTube, or just go into Spotify or Apple Music or wherever you listen to stuff and type in Dickheads and it'll come up.
Yeah.
No, type in Chiron and Loxton Mixed Emotions.
That Uber driver was a fan though, wasn't he?
Yeah, little butty Uber driver getting lit to it. Right. Fact and joke. So the fact is something that we heard whilst we were out in Vegas, and the joke I've kind of like tailored to it. So the fact, the Fantasy Striptease show was only supposed to be a 6-month contract, but it was so successful that it continued, and it's now been running for, I believe they said, 23 years. Which, to go from it lasts 6 months to 23 years, 6 nights a week, is mad. I don't know what they did during COVID. They probably had to stop, didn't they? But that's just that's something that had to happen, isn't it? So you don't really include it in it.
That's the other fact as well then. Before COVID, they made so much, wasn't it? And then just after COVID, Vegas in general made so many a month or something, wasn't it?
I don't know, because then somebody else said I swear one person said before Vegas there was 5 million visits. Before COVID there was 5 million visitors a year, and afterwards there was 5 million a month. But then somebody else said that Vegas, it might have been one of the Uber drivers actually, he was like, it's cool to see people coming back to Vegas. We're not quite where we were, but we're getting there. We're at 70%, 75% of where we were.
Yeah.
So that sounds more logical, that the numbers are getting back up.
It might be what they've done though, isn't it? I guess. Well, the guy who was saying one was doing like a tour, but I guess it's Vegas in general. The Strip might be like that. Like, not doing other stuff, just visiting. And the Flamingo Hotel is for sale. That's what we got told. Currently, at this time.
4 billion, I think it was.
2 billion, I think.
I thought it was 4. It's some $1 billion.
So you can buy it if you want.
Yeah, if you've got some chump change lying around, go and give it a buy. Right, and joke. So it's not really a joke, but it's a joke. I did well at strip poker the other night. I played my socks off.
Wow.
Oh dear. And on that note,
yeah.
Right,
socials,
socials.
All right, find us on all streaming platforms under the SoulInsights podcast. Leave us a rating and review if you want to. Socials: Twitter, the SI Index; TikTok, Instagram, the SoulInsights Index; and YouTube, SoulInsights.
Thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to
check out my album.
Check out Mixed Emotions by Chiron Loxton. It is out now. And
toodaloo. Going to a strip club tonight?